5 years ago, I was running the coolest apparel company in the world, in my mind. It was Icebreaker. Icebreaker was the original merino wool disruptor in the outdoor industry. Founded by Jeremy Moon, it had a crystal clear proposition that nature was better than plastic and that wearing nature in nature just made sense. And what a wild success it was. I was lucky enough to be part of a team that was creating a strategy back then to be plastic free by 2023. We had no idea how we were going to do it. There was elastine in the product, there was lycra in the product, nylon in the product, but that was the goal. Across town, in another area, another business was about to transform its business to altogether different. And it would eventually inspire me to join the company. Cavalier Bremworth, as it was known back then, made woolen carpets and synthetic carpets. It was playing in what was a crowded flooring space where synthetics had overtaken natural fibres significantly. Around 85% of all the carpet that's sold in the world, in fact, 95% in the US, is synthetic. It was in a crowded space. It would become a commodity. They were in a race to the bottom. And it was a race they were losing, and a race that wool was losing. And at the same time, there was a new movement emerging. A movement with a new consumer. A consumer that favoured a lifestyle of health and sustainability. A consumer that cared about where the product was made, who made it, what it was made of, and even why your business existed at all. And that was the consumer that the board of Cavalier Bremworth back then had to listen to. Now, a brief history. Cavalier Bremworth in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s was the darling of the New Zealand Stock Exchange. It was turning over $250 million. It was returning up to 3 dividends per year and had a share price of $6. However, as I mentioned earlier, the tide had changed. It had changed altogether. And the board of Bremworth had to make a decision. The company was largely unprofitable, but they had an idea. They had to hit that consumer that cared about wool, that cared about natural fibres. And so they went to the bank and they said, we've got an idea, we know who the consumer is, we know what the product's going to be, it's going to be awesome, and the world needs it. And the bank said, it sounds like a great idea. And then they said, awesome, will you fund us? And they said no. And to their credit, undeterred, the board went back to the shareholders and said, look, we have a consumer, we have a strategy, we have a plan, we have a product, we have a heritage in making the best wool carpets in the world. Let's go for it. Will you give us permission to do this? And those same shareholders that had seen their shares go from $6 to 20 cents said yes. The same shareholders that hadn't had a dividend in 8 years said yes. They believed in the strategy. Here's how we went to market.
At Cavalier Bremworth, we're on a mission to revolutionise the home experience for our customers and build a better future for everyone. To do that, we have to constantly ask ourselves, how can we make people's homes healthier, happier, and more sustainable places to live? First, we questioned synthetic carpet, knowing that it's essentially made from plastic, and wondered about the potential danger that microplastics pose to people, wildlife, waterways, and our vulnerable planet. We asked, how much are we contributing to the problem ourselves? What if we said goodbye to all of that and exited synthetic carpet production for good? What would that do for our future? And going all in with wool, how good would that change feel? We asked ourselves, what if we partnered with top local designers and pushed the limits of contemporary design using nature's miracle fibre? And how might we re-engineer natural materials to create the next generation of innovative home ideas? What if we aligned ourselves with United Nations sustainability goals? How would that help us achieve our goal? We also wondered, what if we could dream even bigger and worked even harder to unlock nature's potential? You see, our goal is to reach the future first. So we're exploring new opportunities every day across all aspects of our business. We're pushing hard into a beautiful, more sustainable future. Today, we're making a big change. A change for us, for our customers, for their families, and for everyone's well-being. It's an exciting time ahead. We warmly welcome you to join us. Bremworth. Change feels good.
Oh man, so you can see why I joined, right? You're like, holy, out of all of that came this, our purpose, that crystal clear proposition that Icebreaker had to a more sustainable way. I'll talk more about sustainability shortly. We just had to stand up to stand out. I mentioned about 90% of the carpet is synthetic. Wow. The average home in New Zealand carpeted using synthetic fibres has the equivalent of 22,000 plastic bags on the floor by weight. Our babies are crawling around on this. Our children are learning on this at school. We as adults are going to work in our offices on this. And then we're coming home and we're living on it. And we don't know what that's doing. What? We raised some awareness with this. We raised some awareness with that film I showed you. And, consumers responded, but so did the largest carpet maker of synthetic carpets in the world. And they sued us. Now, I understand it. This is existential for them. If governments can ban the sale of just one plastic bag, imagine if they ban synthetic carpet. So, in June next year, after 4 years, we'll finally go to court and we'll fight for wool. Bottom line, we believe that wool carpet is the best wool in the world. But there's a problem. There's a problem for farmers. Farmers aren't getting the return they need on their wool. So to give you an example, and some of you will know this and some of you it'll be new news, but when our farmers and growers shear our sheep and then they get the check for the wool, it doesn't add up. In fact, in some cases, it's not even half of the shearing costs. Last year, we had to take a decision to go, well, what part are we going to play in this? We're selling the product, and we don't have a product if we can't support our farmers and give them confidence to stick with it. So here's what we did. We introduced a 10-year contract to give farmers the confidence to stick with it. I wanted to introduce you to Andrew and Meredith.
Hi there, I'm Andrew Carpenter.
And I'm Meredith Carpenter.
We're farming here at Runo Station, Taihape.
Well, for me, this is my roots. This is where I come from. So the hills are really in my blood, particularly the Taihape hills. They're really special. You don't see hills like our hills anywhere else in the country. So for me, yeah, the land is certainly in my blood.
I guess the draw when you get home, it's a big sigh and you look out there and it's just nice and green and rolling and yeah.
We always like coming home.
Our wool type is suited to carpets and directly through to Bremworth, and the softness and colour and length and staple and in everything.
I think wool is just a no-brainer in terms of fibres. It's just the most amazing natural fibre that we have in this country, and it's completely underutilised. When COVID hit in 2020, we finally decided we were going to do something else with our wool. We wanted to see it as a finished product. We decided to make some blankets, and that's sort of morphed into a whole lot of products now. So the first time we actually got our blankets back, we were blown away by how beautiful they were, because we always knew we grew beautiful wool, but to see it in a finished blanket was, it was really emotional.
A lot of markets are built around relationships with the likes of Alco and Bremworth. I think with the contract they are proposing has possibly given us a little bit of certainty.
Knowing that we've got a 10-year plan, whereas we didn't have that before, so I think that's a huge help. Sustainability is everything for every farmer in the country. If we weren't sustainable, we wouldn't exist, we wouldn't be able to continue. So I think it's in every farmer's being to be sustainable.
I think farmers do it without even recognising they are doing it. So sustainability is probably bred into you, really, from a young age, and you probably do it without recognising you're going along on that journey.
Well, we'd love to see wool in every new build in the country and in every school in the country. Yeah, we'd really like people's buying habits to completely change and see wool for what it is.
That's Bremworth carpet. 100% wool in carpets.
Yeah, we'd like to see wool back in everybody's daily lives. That's what I'd like to see.
Hey, so Andrew and Meredith epitomise, the attitude and the work that's done on farm by our growers across New Zealand. It's what makes our products so good. When we talk about sustainability, we've got 3 things that we're chasing at Bremworth. Number 1, compostable carpet. Why compostable? Well, because the top of our carpet is 100% New Zealand wool. The bottom is made of a natural jute. And in the middle, we've got latex to hold it all together, and we've got a primary backing, which is synthetic. It's around 87% natural. We've got to get rid of that 13%. That's really important to us. And so we've got a partnership with Ag Research, Auckland University, and we have a PhD student who is solving this problem for us so that we can get to a point that if our carpet was to end up in landfill, that it would do no harm to the worms. That's really important. But ultimately, we've got 2 other things. One is reducing waste on top of that compostability. So reducing waste is about, well, what happens at the end of the life of the carpet? Can we actually turn it into something else? And so we've got another partnership with MPI, which is about developing recycled wool carpet underlay, so that we make sure that we keep that product going and going through, and it has more of a virtuous cycle. We're also reducing waste in our production process. So we're using a digital twin to model for us what's going on when this yarn and fibre is going through our plant, to ensure that we are using less water, less energy, there's less waste, there's higher yields, and we make a better product. And then number 3, we're committed to decarbonisation. And carbon is just such a massive conversation and issue for us globally. So we're working with people like Anne and Alistair Reeves at Waimai Station, north of the Waikato, and they're Romney ram breeders. Here's what they're doing. So they're measuring the emissions, the methane emissions and carbon equivalency of their rams. And it turns out that different rams have different genetic makeup and different methane profiles. So they're actually breeding out the methane through these programs, which is, I think, just incredible. It's such a cool story, and we're working closely with them, Cool Sheep and Cool Wool, to be able to do this. We're also looking at ourselves and our plants and going, how do we electrify the plants and take out gas? And so we've done that in Whanganui with one of our dryers. So, we're on a journey. We're a long way off from being sustainable, whether it's sustainable business as a profitable business, or whether it's sustainable as a truly sustainable business for the planet. But we're on our way. Oh, yeah. This slide could say collaboration is everything, partnership is everything. The cool part of my job is I get to work with amazing founders and CEOs and other businesses that are working with wool. We're working with Harry at Wise Wool. We've got a partnership where we're dealing with a massive problem, which is the exotic Kalupa weed in Northland and the Hauraki Gulf. And we're working with Ngā Tipu, the iwi, to come up with how we can solve this problem. At the moment, they're using sort of large vacuum cleaners to suck the stuff out, but we've developed a weed mat that will go over top of the weed and it completely kills it. So it stops photosynthesis from occurring and means the weed dies underneath that, and it also stops the spread. Such a cool partnership. Oh, and by the way, Wise Wool is changing the world by taking out synthetic fibres from furniture and bedding and using wool instead. Then you've got Dara Lee at Wilkemy, who's doing like an incredible job bringing sanitary products to people and consumers. Like, I had no idea that there was like a cup of crude oil in every nappy, the equivalent. I'm like, what the heck? And this is what her business is doing to solve that with wool and natural fibres. And then you've got John O'Mountford, who works for Ortex. Jono's a designer and an engineer. And they're 100% synthetic at the moment. But over the last 4 years, he's been developing a wool acoustic panel, which is nature positive, 0 carbon. And he's got it. They're doing it. They're building it. And I'm getting to talk with him, and we're sharing ideas and about how we communicate this and how do we scale these ideas to be one, and so that consumers can see that there's so many cool products out there. Lucas Smith from Woolaid, he's using merino to make bandages to disrupt Johnson & Johnson, frankly. They make a better product for people that has better health outcomes, and it's better for the planet. So innovation is everything. Lastly, I want to touch on the consumer experience. Like, it's important that we reach consumers where they are. Like, if we can have great ideas, we can have great products, but it's not enough. We actually have to invest to reach these consumers. So for us, that started with investing in our digital site. So a few weeks ago, I was in Australia, and I was at a conference for a company. Half of their sales, this is an $800 million business, they sell flooring. Half of their sales, the consumer never even visits the store. It's all done online. This is an example of our unboxing experience. I wanted to show you just purely for the fact that every single touch point that a consumer has with your brand paints a picture for who you are as a brand, whether you're a sustainable brand, whether you're using sustainable products, whether you are packaging in a sustainable way. And it elevates your brand in their mind, and it helps them to sort of want it more and to pay for it. We include like myth-busting catalogs and all the things that the other guys say about us as to why you should buy synthetics. And then lastly, we've opened our own experience store, our own wool store, a wool experience store, so people can go in and they can get the truth, so they can understand what it is that why is wool so great, and why they should consider it in their homes. And they get a chance to design their own mood boards to give them the sense of how this amazing product might show up in their homes and in their lives. So I'm kind of done. These are my takeaways. I know you're kind of done too, because I'm standing in the way of drinks. I want you guys to think about these things. We had to confront our brutal truth, and the brutal truth was really scary. We had to take action and change. We had to provoke awareness with consumers and with our competitors, I suppose. We had to collaborate to come up with new ideas and new ways to reach consumers. And we had to spend, $10 million to reach them. But the point is that we want to back wool. We're behind wool. And, I dream of a day where wool is everywhere. I hope you guys too. Cheers. I'm Greg Smith. Kia ora.